Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So I think we had another in-between week last week where sales weren't crazy, inventory's up a bit, but I think we're gonna see a big shift in sales next week because the market is super busy right now. It feels busier than October. So let's take a look at what happened last week in Halton Hills. In Georgetown this week, we had 12 properties sell, which is not a huge number for how busy the market feels. But of those 12, 9 of them sold over asking. So 3/4 of the properties that sold over asking. So that kind of supports the high demand that we're talking about here. We did have 17 new listings hit the market. So that is good news in the sense that inventory will be up quite a bit. But when I looked at our available inventory, a lot of them were looking at offers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. So that is what we were seeing in July, August, September. We were seeing a lot of stuff coming on, and then it didn't look like a lot of sales that week because they were getting pushed to the next week with offer night. So then the following week, we saw a lot of sales. So I anticipate, just knowing how many buyers, like when I'm talking to other realtors, the kind of activity and showings that we're getting on our listings, like I anticipate next week our sales are going to be majorly up versus this 12. The number doesn't feel right for how the market feels right now. In Acton this week, we had 4 properties sell, which is like a normal number for there, but the problem number is that we only had 1 new listing there. So inventory has been super low in Acton, so to have that many more sales versus new listings is definitely going to be a problem. In Glen Williams, we had no sales, but 2 new listings. In Limehouse, there was 1 sale and no new listings. In the rural market, this is the 2nd week in a row that we have had no sales, which is surprising because usually when town is a problem, we have rural sales. And to see no properties moving in the rural market is honestly kind of confusing because there's some decent properties available there. So again, I'm gonna be watching the rural numbers pretty closely. There was 2 new listings, so inventory is going to be up there. I think we are due for some sales just based on the fact that there's not a ton of good stuff available, especially in the higher price points in town. So I don't know, we'll see what happens in terms of the rural market. So now let's look at active inventory. So our inventory is up slightly this week to 98 active listings, which is still below that 100 mark. We have 10 in the sold conditional status, so still in the 80s in terms of available inventory, which is not good. So in Georgetown this week, we are up to 54 active listings, which is better than in the 40s. But when we look at the price points, I anticipate, as I've been saying in this video, that inventory is going to drop next week because we have a lot of properties that have offer nights this week. So looking at our numbers that we sort of look at every week, our under 700 inventory is up significantly to 13 active listings. But a lot of these properties are falling in that category of having offers this week. So I bet you most of those will be gone next week. Let's see if I'm right about that. 700,000 to 800,000 is one of the higher numbers we've seen in a while. It's up to 6 active listings. Again, price point moves constantly, so I anticipate a dip there. The 800 to 1 million price point is down to 10 active listings, which is very low for that price point. Not the lowest we've seen, but that's a really high demand price point for us, and 10 is just not enough. The $1 million+ price point, this has been the story for the last 6 to 8 weeks. This price point continues to blow my mind. It is down to 20 active listings, which I think, since I've been tracking it, is the lowest number we've seen yet. And a couple of them are in the sold conditional status. So I mean, that $1 million+ price point continues to be completely insane. It's definitely our busiest price point. When you talk to agents that have a listing in that price point, the number of showings they're getting is insane. The number of offers they're getting is insane. So even though we have some increases in some of the price points, we are not seeing a ton of inventory hit the market. So I think next week we are going to be in a worse inventory position, definitely, than we are in right now. Acton's inventory is down to only 8 active listings, We saw that a few weeks ago. That is extremely low for Acton. It means there's virtually nothing available. And so when we're seeing things like only one new listing coming on the market, that is definitely concerning for the buyers looking in Acton. Glen Williams inventory is up to 6 active listings, which is a high number for there. Limehouse is down slightly to 4 active listings, but still quite a bit for Limehouse. And the rural market, no surprise, inventory is up to 26 active listings. So that number's been climbing week to week. Hopefully we can see some sales happening in the rural market to give that number a bit of relief. So overall, even though the numbers aren't telling an amazing story, it is really busy, especially for November. I'm definitely nowhere near the level of busy I was, but I still have a lot of clients looking. The listings that I have are busy, and it just overall feels like there is no slowing down anytime soon. And again, I think inventory next week is going to drop significantly. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully a lot of listings come up this week. So we saw that little bit of a dip in October, and I thought we were going towards a slowdown. And I mean, the 12 sales this week in Georgetown kind of support it being slower, but it just doesn't feel like that. Like, our available inventory is not very high and things are busy. So I think we're in a really interesting spot in the market. This is normally where we're starting to really feel a drop off before Christmas, and we are not feeling that by any means with the buyers out there. So again, this just feels like an interesting time to be watching this week to week. So come back next Tuesday and we'll see what happens this week in Halton Hills. Have a great week.